Let us quickly look at the various changes that are happening in the Arctic. One is the temperature increase. Arctic is warming approximately 2 to 3 degrees centigrade since 1970s, with some regions experiencing the temperature increase by up to 4 degrees centigrade. Sea ice decline, when we look at the Arctic sea ice extent is declining from 7.5 million square kilometers in late 1970s to currently 3.8 million square kilometers in September 2020. There is a drastic reduction. Roughly we can say 7.5 to 3.8 is roughly 50%. Record low extent, that is in September 2020, the Arctic sea ice extent was 3.74 million square kilometers, the second lowest recorded since 1979. And similarly, the precipitation increase is there. Arctic precipitation had increased from 300 mm to 600 mm, that is roughly about 10 to 20% since 1950. Snow ice cover reduction is also has seen approximately 10% from 1970 to 2020. Permafrost coverage is like approximately 24% of the northern hemisphere land area is underlain by permafrost, that is 10 million square kilometers. Carbon storage, when we talk about the Arctic permafrost contains around 1670 billion metric tons of carbon. And when we look at the methane emission, the thawing of permafrost approximately releases 0.5 to 1.4 gigatons of methane annually by 2100. So this is the prediction many scientists are proposing. And the historical methane level is like a methane concentration had, especially in the Arctic region, the concentration reached up to 1900 parts per billion, which is much higher than the pre-industrial area where we had only 700 parts per billion of methane. Carbon release is also expected additional by 0.3 to 0.8 gigatons of CO2 annually. It is going to increase. And when we talk about the global carbon cycle, at least currently the Arctic region is contributing approximately 30% of the global soil carbon stock. Ocean carbon uptake, the Arctic water absorbs around 0.5 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide per year, and there is an increase in the carbon dioxide in the entire globe. So we had seen earlier also, currently in 2023 and 24, we had seen around 410 ppm of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The carbon sink also got reduced because Arctic tundra ecosystem had shifted from being carbon sink to the source, with emissions increasing about 0.1 gigatons of carbon per year. So these are all the changes that is happening, and the projected emissions increase is like 10 to 20 gigatons of permafrost is going to emit various gases by 2100. And similarly, all these things are going to affect the global climate, that is additionally 0.2 to 0.5 degree centigrade warming is expected. Similarly, the vegetation changes around 20 to 50% of the Arctic ecosystem vegetation are expected to decrease. And similarly, the carbon dioxide flux is also going to increase by 1.2 gigatons of CO2, especially from the microbial activity. Similarly, the ocean acidification, currently the temperature is around 8.1 pH, which is expected to go down to 7.8 in the coming years. And similarly, the permafrost thaw is also expected to increase from 0.5 to 1 meter per year. And the feedback loop also had shown that around 30% increase in the ice albedo feedback. So based on all these things, what are the things actually changing? The factors that had increased are temperature, precipitation, and with respect to carbon cycle, the methane level had changed, increased, methane emission from thawing increased, carbon release from permafrost also increased, carbon dioxide, and the major change is tundra biome become carbon sink to source. So there is instead of absorbing CO2, now it is releasing CO2. Similarly, there is an impact on global climate change, permafrost thaw rate, feedback loop, and projected emissions. Similarly, carbon dioxide flux and ocean acidifications are related to carbon cycle change. But some of the factors that had decreased, which include sea ice had decreased, snow cover had decreased. Similarly, the vegetation changes, that is carbon storage, also had decreased. So these are all the changes, decrease happening, but both of them are actually having a negative effect on the overall Arctic region. So here is a biological carbon pump in the Arctic Ocean. The first one is we start from the low light winter conditions. The low light winter condition leads to dormant diatom cells in the sea ice and low algae biomass is present. Similarly, minimal sympagic and pelagic interaction is seen during this low light and winter conditions. The biomass transformed via the microbial loop only, and the nutrient replenishment through vertical mixing is happening. So all these things happen during the low light winter conditions. Then comes the winter to spring transition. During this time, there is an increase in the solar angle and the daylight. So that means everybody is now waking up. So light penetration into the sea ice also increases. The first blooms of the low light adapted algae starts coming up. There is a migration of zooplankton to sea ice. So all these things happens during the winter to spring transition. Then phytoplankton bloom phase takes place. So these two things mainly lead to the phytoplankton bloom phase. So that leads to increased in the productivity of water column, higher temperature and light availability is promoting all these changes. Similarly, there is a stronger sympagic and pelagic benthic coupling. In the low light winter condition, it was very minimal. Now it is a very strong one. Similarly, there is a dominance in the flagellas in later stages. This all leads to organic matter processing by microbes. So that increases. So these are all the three different time period where the changes are happening. And this leads to the microbial loop. So how the organic matter is being transformed is given here. So the organic matter processing by microbes starts with nutrient release via microbial loop. Similarly, organic matter into fecal pellets by zooplankton. So these are all the two ways by which they enter the microbial loop. The first, the export of organic matter happens. Then vertical migration of zooplankton leads to deeper water dynamics where the attenuation of export flux at depth happens. Similarly, POC and DOC consumption by higher species happens. That is, dissolved organic carbon is being consumed by the higher species. Similarly, long-term storage carbon sequestration at the seafloor also takes place. Then once from the deeper water dynamics, we just move up. The microbial degradation of the released nutrient happens. Then the marine snow and the POC exported to deeper layer. Then they are again exported to organic layer. So this is how the microbial loop works. So from the low light winter conditions to the summer, everything keeps on increasing. So that is the change in the carbon cycle that is happening in the Arctic region.